Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're looking at the 10 most powerful weapons in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. For this list, we've hand-picked the most devastating weapons in the game, so you have the option to assassinate as well as obliterate your enemies. Which of these weapons would perfectly fit your playstyle? Let us know down below. Excalibur. The fabled sword in the stone from the Arthurian legend is flashy in all the right ways. Excalibur has impressive attack, stun, and critical chance stats, but what really puts the great in this great sword is its perk. Whenever the player performs a heavy finisher or lands a critical hit, this blade releases a radiant blast of light that temporarily blinds enemies within range. You can find it relatively early on in the game, but you do have to prove your kingly qualities, namely, finding all the treasures of Britain tablets. Excalibur is enormous, so it needs some elbow grease to get swinging, and sometimes your enemies can continue to be a problem even after you burn their retinas. These issues can be smoothed out a bit with its 3 empty room slots. Yngling Seax. Some might scoff at the damage this dagger does per hit, but those players haven't blitzed enemies like a Michelin star chef. This modest looking weapon more than compensates for its lack of damage with its stunning speed. The Yngling Seax has a perk that lets you do more damage each time you successfully dodge in a fight, which is a nice way of rewarding us for being an annoying prick. If you pair the brush with death skill with this weapon, you'll have the perfect recipe for diced enemies. All of this might seem a tad unorthodox, but we hope you'll take a stab at it. Spinning Death. With a name like that, it's a safe bet that it's good at ending enemies. Boasting great attack and stun stats, the Spinning Death Flail is sure to make your enemies do just that, flail. Its remarkable reach makes it an effective tool for crowd control and for delivering concussions, while it's comparatively lightweight, lets you get lots of bonks in before your opponent can react. In case it wasn't intimidating enough, this weapon has a perk where every now and then it drops a firebomb after a heavy finisher. Remember to steer clear of innocent NPCs while wielding the Spinning Death, because you might be a swing away from getting desynchronized. Varen's Axe.
Father, you should have held on to this until the bitter end.
Heirlooms seem to be fairly different in Viking families. This axe belonged to Eivor's father, Varen, and you can acquire it close to the beginning of the game. One would assume that this starter weapon wouldn't hold up later on, but you'd be surprised. Varen's axe, once fully upgraded, can deal as much damage as some weapons you come across towards the end. What sets it apart from them is its power plus its speed. You can't help but feel like a real berserking badass when you charge into battle with it. This one-handed weapon encourages you to unleash furious flurries where each successful strike boosts your speed for the next one. This one's for you, Dad. Blodwulf. If you're not a fan of shields, the Blodwulf light shield might change that. It does a decent amount of damage, it is fairly fast, and oh yeah, it can light your freaking weapon on fire. That's right, this shield has a high chance of igniting your weapon and your inner pyromaniac when you parry an attack with it. This perk does have a cooldown once it's triggered, but the lingering effects of the flames do not. Since it's light, you can still stay swift and nimble while your enemies stay nice and toasty. Gay Bolg. With 3 empty rune slots, 2 prongs, and one of the highest all-around stats for this weapon type, it's no wonder that the Gay Bolg has become a fan favorite. You can grab it in the Wrath of the Druids DLC from a stone in Asfen. What is it with weapons stuck in stones? The path to getting both your hands on this weapon is filled with tough fights and demanding quests, but soon your answer to most problems will be a 3-hit combo, followed by some red lightning just for good measure. Sarcophagus Shield. If having actual skulls on it wasn't metal enough, the sarcophagus shield itself is essentially a plank that was ripped from a Mercian king's sarcophagus. Bashing enemies with it will usually send them flying, but the same can't be said for you, as long as this shield is in their way. Just to double down on being nightmare fuel for your foes, parrying hits with the sarcophagus shield can occasionally create a circle of flames around you. So, if you're in the market for becoming a terrifying tank, you can find this spooky shield in the Duststone Quarry in Shropshire. Petra's Arc. Don't think we forgot about players who prefer to keep their personal space free of enemies. This Predator bow is perfect for long range and stealth-based builds. It lacks some points in speed, but if you can land lethal shots on enemies, its astounding attack and critical chance points will ensure that they won't get back up. This type of bow lets the player aim in first person, so getting headshots won't be too difficult. Petra's Arc packs a powerful perk too. It increases critical damage when you're at full health, so you can send your enemies to Valhalla without them ever seeing you.
A good horse! Let's get out of here!
Yngling. The primary weapon of the Allfather is all about that reach. Gun gear might not be for everyone, but once you get the knack of using it, by Odin's beard, you'll be skewering enemies in no time. This enormous Spear of Eden has massive attack and stun stats, but unlike any other weapon in the game, it can extend its reach via a force field. This means that you can stay out of range of your opponent and wreck them with lunge and AoE attacks. If you've unlocked the heavy dual wield skill, then you can carry this massive spear in one hand and another overpowered weapon in the other, just to be safe.
Odin owns you, coward!
Mjölnir. Speaking of overpowered weapons, if you can prove yourself to be worthy, the mighty Mjölnir can be yours. To obtain the legendary hammer, you'll have to find every piece of Thor's armor, which is easier said than done. After all of that, it's zappin' time. Mjölnir is slower than most one-handed weapons, but when you land a hit, oh boy do they feel it. It deals tons of damage on its own, but there's a chance of lightening up your enemies with every strike. Every finisher, however, is a guaranteed reminder of what Thor is a god of.
You're mine!
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.